Welcome to Legacy Mentor Wednesday, where I share insights through the use of the letter of the alphabet and an associated tree. I pull a word out of all the words that I use in all my different frameworks and maps. And then there's a phrase that comes to mind that I thought would be of value if I unpacked it for you. Today, the letter is O. When you think of O, there's lots of words that are associated with it. But what about the letter itself in terms of what does it mean? I found cycles and infinity and wholeness associated with the letter O. I've always appreciated it because connected to zero, there's a shape correspondence, even though I know they are drawn a little bit differently when you go to actually letter. But it's kind of interesting to make that connection. So when I looked at the tree that's connected with O, I went, oh, what is it? Oak. It tends to come out very quickly because it's a tree about strength. It's in a lot of mythology, the acorns. It has a lot of deep-rooted meaning when you hear oak. When it comes to the words, now this is where it starts to get kind of interesting. And I'm just going to lean into my cards here, so the drawing of the cards. So what I came up with was origin, opportunities, optimistic, observations, and older. And I went, okay, let's take a look at them in reverse order. When older is one of those words that is very much in what I talk about along the continuum of the younger, older. And it's a point in time along that continuum where you self-decide that I'm an older. Now, when that happens, that's up to you. Now, the corresponding is, well, what might happen when you get into the older, and that's where you might hear other terms like elder. And I'm coming up with the term legacent associated with living a legacy life and the work that I'm doing. And there'll be more about that as time goes by. But that younger, older continuum, older is a term I give to myself. It's a gift that I give to myself to recognize where I am in living life. The next one that I would bring up would be observations. I first started with openness, as to be open to what's possible here. But then I went, no, that's true, but observations, to be able to observe what's taking place. Because often when we're in conversations, it's a little bit more not necessarily about what we hear, but what we're observing is taking place around us. And so I stretch that out, and as I look out the window here of my office, I can see the grass, the fence, the ravine, the trees, the sky. There's a lot more that's going on out there than if I'm just looking at the camera and trying to figure out what it is that I observe in terms of the jacket, the coat, the poncho, the trinkets and artifacts in the background there. So I said observation is really important, and how to hone that for yourself. That is an important element of living legacy life, because those observations, your way of observing things because of your experience and your education approaches, you can be of great assistance through the project, the contributions, the stories that you share. The next one was optimistic. A lot of times you hear of positive psychology and being positive and positivity, and I've gotten a little away from that word. I use optimistic. It has a little bit more of a sense of hope and faith and grace associated with it. And I kind of like that framing of it for myself. So I thought I would offer it to you. Wherever you might write something about positivity, you could write about optimism and see if that makes a difference in your own writing and your thinking and feeling. So give it a go and let me know down below in the comments section. That would be really great. If we've not met, I'm Stephen. I'm a legacy mentor, and I assist, guide, help those who are 60 plus educators involved with the outdoors, adult outdoor educators, champions of nature inspired projects and contributions to live their legacy life. If I can be of assistance, let me know. And that's why I do these prompt videos for Wednesdays. Now, the next one would be is taking a look at opportunities. What's available out there for you so that you can tap into that and see where that might take you. And the opportunities are sort of, you see them from the outside or without coming within. I counter that with possibilities where you see the possibilities sort of within, without, but you are finding through your observations and your optimism these opportunities, and you bring them into yourself and figure out what to do with them. And then there's origin. If there's anything that I've come to appreciate in living my legacy life, is that I can take whatever I'm looking at, chatting about at face value. But if I lean into the sort of space behind it, that background conversations, into the origin of where it comes from, it really makes for an interesting learning for me. And when I track back, even in my own life, what was the origin story that really shifted me into now working with legacy? Because I started off in one other area, moved through a number of different ones, but there was an origin. There's something happened in my history that I made that turn, and looking for those is actually a great way to truly understand your life and how you're living it at this point in time. So I would encourage you to look for your origin story as well. So of those O's, older, observations, optimistic, opportunities, and origin, leaning into the strength and myth of the oak tree, that mighty oak tree, then you can find the sense of the infinity and cycles and wholeness, and the sense of the I that is associated with O. Use these prompts and see where it takes you in your writing and your thinking and your feeling. The single word that I picked up today was leverage. It's a play on the word leverage by taking out the E and putting an O in the beginning. Because when I looked at leverage, the lever to be able to use some tool to be able to assist you in moving something, that leverage, that lever. And I said, isn't there another way to look at that in terms of life? And I went, oh, yes, O, E, leverage. And then when I looked at the word, I went, oh, again. And I went, oh, there's lover and age. So leverage would be similar to leverage of moving something. Leverage would be about living something over the ages from a lover perspective. And that's kind of a neat way. And then I realized that there was love and rage. And so the leverage of living this life, this legacy life, is so you can counter if there's times when there's love that's present, or you feeling some rage coming in, and how you might be able to deal with that and dissipate it, equilibrate it, get it to go away, and really come from a place of love and this leverage in living your legacy life. The phrase that came out today was as above, so below. It's the sense of correspondence. And it has some deep mythological connection to it, to Hermes. And when I first encountered it, I wasn't thinking about it from a mythology point of view. I was in this exploration of the sense of metaphysics, quantum physics, physics, what's happening there, that as I remember, the story of the turtle on the turtle on the turtle on the turtle, and what happens. And there are some of us who are really interested in quantum physics to physics. Others of us are interested in physics to metaphysics. And some of us are all the way between metaphysics and and quantum physics and just playing with everything. And there was this sense of, if you find something somewhere and you looked at it and said, okay, this is where I am below something, there's correspondence to what might be happening above. Or if you're at above and you're going, what might be happening below. It's a sense of unpacking things, and there's similar patterns that you might find, meaningful patterns that you can take a look at. And I might take a look at a tree, a big tree, and I might look at it and go, what meaning does that have? So as above, so below for me. Then there's the cycles that are taking place, like the water cycle on Earth. But there's also looking at the water cycle that's in the ground that's associated with it. So the water cycle above, the water cycle as below. And I was just using it as a way to remember in my own conversations with others is that I may be talking high level, but there's something going on that might be more nuanced that I've got to take a look at. Or if I'm looking at something that's quite nuanced, how does it impact what's happening above? And I know that sometimes even in my life, from a conversation point of view, I can get kind of academic at times, and I don't really realize it because it was such an interesting and wonderful aspect of living my life was my academics. And I sometimes see those faces and I go, oh, hang on a minute, as above, what does it mean so below? How can I figure out how to share this in a way that's a little bit more responsive to the moment and whoever it is that I'm chatting with? And I know there's an activity that I do, and you may want to take it up yourself, is that I meet with a friend on a Sunday, every other Sunday, and we go for a walk and have a conversation. And he has quite an academic background, and as I do, and I just love that opportunity, just to woohoo, off we go. Really technical term there, as above, so below, woohoo! And we just enjoy our conversations and digging into things and going, oh, what's the origin of that word? And how can we observe it taking place now? And I just enjoy that. So I would encourage you to think about, well, if it's presenting in some way, how might it go up? Or if you're there, how might it go down? So physics, how does it go into metaphysics? Physics, how does it go into quantum physics? And you can think about all the different ways in which to apply that. But one of the great ways is in living your life. What is it that you have learned that can be then translated as above through writing, so that so below, when you read it, others can read it? There's something there. You've been able to interpret your insights. You are sharing your investigations in ways that make sense for others. That is one of my greatest challenges based on what I just shared with you. And there's a great tool, AI, that can help you just figure out some of that. So I would encourage you to think about AI as a tool here, and sharing your thoughts about as above, so below. Now, again, I haven't done justice to the mythological aspect of it and the emerald table and all that. That's for another day, or there's others who are much more qualified to talk about that phrase. So if you look up as above, so below, then what you can do is see where that might take you. It's an interesting phrase, is it not? Find ourselves at the end of this Legacy Mentor Wednesday, and we went over the letter O and some ideas, words for prompts. So we took a look at the word Loverage and the as above, so below. And I would encourage you to rewatch, especially if you're just pulled out your journal, or you're going to pull out your journal, your legacy journal, and just listen to them and see what comes to head, heart, and hands for you. So the heart, the head, the hands as you do your writing, and see what takes place with this Legacy Mentor review, some really key prompts on living your legacy life. Thank you for joining us on this Legacy Mentor Wednesday. Just as a reminder, the video that shows up here is recommended for you. Give it a watch, learn a little bit more about living legacy life, and make sure that you follow the playlists around the short stories that I share with you. They're great prompts for your writing. And with that, take care.